He'll be here any second.
Hey man, what's up?
Count them, demon.
What the fuck, Chris? What the serious fuck?
Forces of hell have no power here. Demons are not welcome. You'll be gone, or you will be my thrall.
I'm not a fucking demon. What the hell is wrong with you?
Your wicked lies fall on my righteous ears. Only demon would come to me as a man in a skirt.
Dude, it's a kilt. I'm part Scottish. I'm celebrating my heritage.
Okay, cool. Let's get started.
137.
Ian,
Cristobal.
Aaron,
How's it going?
tonight we watched the Netflix movie. I don't know if it's a Netflix movie.
is.
Okay. Errementari.
Netflix original.
Actually, it is listed as a Netflix original.
Tonight we watched the Netflix original movie, Errementari, the Blacksmith and the Devil. It's a very complicated name. It is a Basque movie based on the old fable, The Smith and the Devil. This movie kind of came out of nowhere because I remember when we were going to do The Apostle. This released the same day as The Apostle. And I sent the trailer to you. I was like, this looks really cool. And you're like,
I didn't watch it.
Or you're like, okay, well, does that mean we're doing that or The Apostle? And I said, well, we're going to do The Apostle.
Yeah, you were really looking forward to that one.
So then a few days later, I watched this, and I said, you should check this movie out, Ian, because I was really surprised by it.
And you also told everybody on Twitter.
And I told everybody on Twitter,
All of the Twitter.
everyone. And so what is Errementari, the Blacksmith, and the Devil about?
Basically, there's this blacksmith. We're talking 1830s, 1840s Basque region. And he has captured a devil that he had made a bargain with. Rather than fulfill the arrangement that he has made with said devil, he has captured him and is holding him hostage and isolating himself from the rest of society so that people won't ask questions effectively, and trying to keep him contained to save the world from his evils.
And the story
hijinks and
centers around a little girl
Ushue.
who plays a role in this movie as well. And we will get to spoilers at some point, but for now, Aaron, what did you think?
I actually I watched this about a week ago. I was late at night, couldn't sleep, popped up on Netflix. I thought, wow, this looks really interesting. So it's not exactly fresh in my mind, but I've had about a week to process it. I really actually enjoyed it. Now, there's some caveats to that we'll get into regarding subtitles, dialogue, etc. But overall, I thought it was really, really fun movie to watch. Again, it's based on a really old fable, so there's times that it may seem sort of cheesy in a way. But I think if you're looking at it from the right frame of mind, it works really well.
So I actually want to get into some of those things you said we get into later right now.
Okay.
I think the language you watch this in, I think, significantly contributes to your experience of this one. Because I'm an English speaker, Netflix immediately gave it to me with English dubbing.
It didn't give it to me immediately in English.
Yeah, it immediately came to me with English dubbing in, and it took me a while to quite figure it out, because they changed the dialogue around a little bit. Not to change the meaning, but just so that, like, the number of consonants spoken was similar to what the voice the actors were doing.
Yeah, so it looked
like very
it.
close. So
Yeah.
I found it very distracting the first few minutes.
Those dubs
It was fine.
destroy everything because
Yeah.
you lose any kind of sound dynamics.
Yeah.
Like it's just
It's very
And it
in this
wasn't-
one particular. It's
it
very
wasn't badly
obvious.
done.
it makes the movie
obvious.
and it makes everything seem cheesier than it actually is. You can't deliver those lines in a way.
It pulls you out of it.
I think it's
It
fine,
really
but
does.
I think you definitely lose some of that local flavor that the movie has. I mean, one of the best things about watching a foreign film is getting like a sense of
That flavor.
that flavor. You
It
know,
actually really
obviously,
is. No, I agree. Yeah.
Like you have a story based on a fable that's not well known to us, and getting all the sound intonation of the language and the actors is all I think contributes to that flavor. Which
So I was immediately like pulled in this movie because it looks so awesome.
it looks amazing.
So even if the story sucked or everything sucked, I would still give this movie a pass just because it was so visually entertaining. There's so many cool shots. There's the demon creature like, I'm not against CGI, and I'm sure if you'd like spend time making a CGI creature, it'd probably look creepier. But it was so cool seeing like a full makeup guy run around and interact with everything in this movie.
And it was really impressive how expressive that was. Oftentimes, creature effects can kind of subdue a performance.
Sure.
But like the ears were moving around in a very interesting way.
When you could still see the eyes
And
really
the eyes
well,
were very
like, it was
expressive. So
I would say the only bad part was like the tail at certain times I think was CGI'd.
I don't think
because
it was.
didn't quite.
Either way, like everything in this movie kind of felt tactile.
yeah.
So
Creature effects were
while
really
it didn't
good,
have
though.
like a massive scope or anything, it was limited to a few, settings. Everything was like real.
Yeah.
So it just brought you into it a lot more. And I was getting, obviously some Guillermo del Toro vibes from this
Definitely.
movie,
For sure.
Definitely.
with its dark fable-esque story and its
And
setting.
creature
and
effects
everything.
kind of reminded me of some
Creature
Guillermo
effects,
stuff.
and it's like it really reminded me of Pan's Labyrinth
Okay.
directly
See that.
because you have your little girl main character and stuff like that. Okay, well let's just start spoiling it. I would say I'd go check out this movie, but we're gonna start
Definitely.
spoiling it now.
So this movie's set before and just after the First Carlist War, which took place in Spain over a succession of rulers. So basically you have the liberals were supporting the rightful Queen Isabel and her regent. And then you had absolutists supporting the former king's brother, Carlos del Balboa. A lot of people in the Basque region would have supported this challenge to the throne under Carlos, hence the Carlist War, because he kind of represented more of a maintaining the status quo, because the Basque region's always had a very independent streak within Spain. It's always either wanted to be fully independent or at least had some degree of home rule. So in this movie, I think it kind of reflects some of the values of that war, even though I don't think it comes out directly.
Well, okay, I mean that's all interesting, all that information, but I knew none of that, and I still
Right.
didn't know any of that after I watched
And you
the
don't
movie.
need to know any of that
And
to
that's
enjoy
what I was
this
gonna
movie.
say,
You
yeah.
don't need to know any of that to enjoy the movie, but I think it relates to some of the themes of the movie in interesting ways. So I think all this information is better off for people who've already seen the movie. So turn this off, go watch the movie, then come back and talk about it. Because to me, like, the demons are definitely connected to the established government. That's a bit of a spoiler, but there's a character who represents the government, and we later find out he's also a demon. But that also reflects secular power as opposed to religious, which is a theme of the movie: secular versus religious power and control.
So
of
I
the
was
hearts and
definitely
minds of
picking up
people.
on religious themes,
and that is connected to the liberal versus absolutist
Okay.
It's even
tones of that time period. And the blacksmith in this case is more connected to like a pious goodness that kind of relate him to like religious ideals, independence from contracts, as well. Like in this case, read the secular government control.
Sure, I agree on the
Because-
piousness of our blacksmith, but okay.
He's not totally pious at all times, but he's definitely related to that because he's doing a pious thing by trapping this demon.
Ooh.
He's not a perfect hero by any
I
stretch
didn't think
of the
that
imagination.
was the case at all.
No, you don't think so?
No,
It's
but-
strictly just a selfish
Well, no.
way of getting out of his contract?
Yes.
I agree.
That, yes.
I think
That's all it
because
is.
later in the movie, then he sort of has a little bit of retribution.
He
by what
is
chooses
taking
to
his,
do.
I would say he's taking his revenge out on the demon.
Yes.
Right.
His frustration.
There's that too, but I think he's also just trying to protect the world from the demon.
I think it's more selfish than that.
You think so?
I really do.
I don't think he cares about
because
anything
I thought
until that girl.
what was so beautiful about this movie was kind of the contrast of somebody who is generally a good person who did some terrible things in his worst moments.
Yes.
You know, thrown into a war that he probably didn't necessarily even want to be in. He made a pact with the devil to get out of it and go home to his family, only to discover it wasn't what he thought, and did a terrible thing there too. So, an otherwise good person who, in his worst moment, did a terrible thing, contrasted to a demon who is a demon, he's evil, but in a very pivotal moment, he does a very good thing.
So
And I thought that was kind of the contrast between
I
the
thought
two
it was more
characters
of
that was
a
most interesting to
criticism
me.
of religion, because all the characters that are the most religious in this movie are the biggest hypocrites. And while the demon is like the antithesis of that, is the only one to actually do the right
right
thing.
thing.
We should say there's no good characters in this movie. Nobody
The
who's
little girl,
the little girl who makes a pact with the devil to go to hell.
not, but for good reasons. She wants to see her mom,
Potentially, yeah. But still,
and it doesn't hurt anyone to go to hell.
And at
She
that
does.
age,
She also
know
does
what
some
she's
bad
doing?
things to her other child peers, albeit you could argue that they're justified.
deserved it, yeah.
She's treated poorly, but there's no character who comes out in this movie as a perfectly good character.
So I think some of the tones that this movie walks don't always work for me.
Okay.
And especially if you watch it the overdubbed version, but there's a lot of humor in this movie that just kind of felt sometimes out of place or sometimes weird. I understand this demon character was kind of like a jester, sorta, in a way.
And he's definitely a lower level demon.
And he's kind of like a dumbling kind of fool as well, as he constantly, he escapes, but then he doesn't because he, and that happens a few times, those kind of things.
Okay.
And even the other demons kind of chide him about his, ineptitude.
Ineffectualness.
Yeah.
But was that as noticeable with the
And you thought that was humorous?
original language,
I
though?
think it was supposed to be. You don't
I
think
think
so?
it was just part of the plot twists and turns. If
okay.
he just gets away, the movie's over.
Okay, but there's other running gags where the barkeep, who's one of the main characters, is constantly getting hit by his wife,
And I think when he almost gets away but gets caught in the bear trap, that's kind of one of the first hints you get that the blacksmith isn't who we thought he was. He's introduced as the villain of the movie, and as it turns out, if anything, he and Oryushue are probably the protagonists.
Yes.
And you thought that all of these traps and things that we'd already seen in the movie were meant to keep people out. That is not the case. It was meant to keep the demon in.
yes, maybe
I'd say
both
it's
ways.
both, yeah.
I'd say it's both.
Definitely both.
I mean, he didn't want people coming in, but I don't think that's what those were intended for.
They ride that line where I think the blacksmith is just this misunderstood character, which he is,
To a degree.
but then the reveal of what he did is kind of unforgivable, and then the emotional relationship that they throw in with his daughter,
No,
whatever, you know what I mean? That
his wife's child. It's not his.
but okay, they don't really have much of a relationship for him to go nothing felt earned, I would say, if that makes sense. I mean, I guess he
disagree.
was trying to atone for his sin by going in and saving her.
I don't think he was atoning for himself. I think he was doing it for her, though.
Yeah, that's what. Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And he also knows who she is. He's not unaware of who she
Yeah.
is. He knows that it's the little girl who he gave up to the church
When I think that goes
because
back
it was
to
not his own.
what you said before with him being pious. I think if it was like he was holding the demon hostage to keep him away from his daughter, or his whatever we're
Well,
calling it.
society at large.
Right, society large, etc.
Yeah.
Then I would agree with you that. But I think originally it was just a selfish thing.
I think part of that was him trying to atone for the bad things that he's done. I don't think he was under any illusion that it was going to save him and send him to heaven, but he thought, if I can do this one good.
Yeah, I mean, the demon literally says there is no forgiveness for sin,
Yeah.
and then goes on to say, "You don't see your guilt, and you torment everyone else for it."
Did you feel sorry for the demon at all?
Of course.
Not
Especially
one
by
little
the
bit.
end.
No?
Especially by the end, because he was the only one to do. He wasn't a hypocrite.
Yeah.
The opening of the movie shows this priest who is basically watching over our main character. What's her name?
Ushue.
Shue, and she gets in trouble for doing kid stuff, but he sits her down and
doesn't
says
protect her in
no
moments
matter
when he
what,
should."
I'll always be there for you. And then in the moment when she needs him, at the end, he slaps her across the face and
Yeah.
calls her a sinner.
Yeah.
Which is why she turns to the devil, because she has nothing else.
Yeah.
So that right there was like, okay, he's supposed to be the most pious of everybody, and he's a fucking hypocrite. But the demon actually follows through with what he says,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have to.
But I'm not saying that's anti-religion, though. I think
I'm
it's
not-
more.
no, okay.
That's more anti-being hypocritical,
Yeah.
or if you're
True.
going to be religious,
Okay.
be true to it. Not
Also,
be,
at times, I think he was operating from his character's perspective, and he didn't have all the information at hand at certain times. I wouldn't defend the character. He's ultimately not a good person. I don't think this movie is really going to challenge anybody's religious belief.
No.
Whether you come to this movie with significant religious belief, or you come to it with significant atheist belief, or really
Well,
nothing at all, I think you're going to come away still feeling that way. And
Well,
you're not going to feel challenged in your belief.
No, and it is in no way grounded into reality. The movie looks like a fable brought to life, which is why it's so
Yeah.
cool to watch.
It
Yeah,
is.
it definitely has that a slight sense from the very beginning that it just looks a little different than the actual world in a way that Guillermo del Toro movies often do as well.
Sort of.
Just so you kind of get the sense that anything supernatural can happen here.
Yeah, but I mean, he's the only out of place thing in this movie, right? There's no other fantasy elements besides this demon.
Another demons.
You know
Get
what
to see.
vibe I got was Legend. You know, Tim Curry as the devil. Full prosthetics and
Yeah.
stuff. Not that the Legend feels more like a Disney movie brought to life, I would say, but I was getting that vibe.
I think that gives a lot of credit, actually, to the actor that portrayed Sartiel.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, he did a great job
Tim Curry is a very talented guy.
for sure.
What was with the chickpeas?
I think that is a thing that demons have to count them or something.
I was trying to look into that, and I couldn't find anything.
Okay.
But yeah, in this movie, anytime chickpeas get thrown on the ground, the demons supposedly have to count them. They
That was
have no
cool.
choice. It was an interesting choice. I just couldn't find any. I wonder if that is specific to Basque region storytelling. I have no idea.
Did anyone come up with like a clear moral? That's what I was trying to figure out, because you know most old fables obviously
Based
are
on-
like
well-
a way of getting morals out to children.
To me, this was more of a gothic horror than it was a
But it's
fable.
based on that old.
It is based on a fable, but I don't know what the
Fable.
tradition of Basque fables is
Yeah.
either, and how it compares to what we're maybe a little bit more used to. Kind of an exploration of themes. You know, characters come out of it with not a clear sense of right or wrong necessarily, or not necessarily a clear victory gained. And nobody came out of this clearly having gotten what they wanted.
I
A
agree.
couple people came out better than maybe they could have hoped, but certainly not with what they wanted.
I agree. I really like the end of the movie too.
Yeah.
It was a good wrap up.
Very good wrap up.
I don't have much more to say. I would just say I recommend this movie. I really enjoyed it. It was really surprising.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting movie. It looks awesome.
Does. Really does.
And I don't know, you might not get anything out of the story. I didn't get too much out of it, but like I said, just the visuals were enough to entertain me. So I'd recommend it.
I would too.
Yeah, agreed. It was
3
really
thumbs
good.
up.
3 thumbs up for Errementari and the Saint Haven Devils. All right, that's gonna do it for Errementari, the Blacksmith, and the Devil. Catch us next week. Same bad time, same bad place.
Badmovienight.com.
Badmovienight.com.
Don't you do it.
I knew it.
Me too. The whole time.
And here I thought it was just my mother-in-law.